10,000 subscribers. That is just unbelievable. Obviously, a huge thanks to you guys because no YouTuber is complete without their subscribers and their supporters. So I'm very grateful for you all. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a Q&A for this special occasion. So let's get into it. What made you start YouTube? So I always wanted to do some sort of content creation. I just didn't really know what it was that I wanted to do. So the main person who inspired me to create a YouTube channel for gaming is Queso, because I used to stay up until like 2 a.m. watching his streams, and he just made it look so fun and chill. I thought that it'd be kind of fun to try myself. Now, I don't know why I decided to start streaming Fortnite when I picked up streaming when this channel first started, because that's pretty much the worst game you could possibly play to start a YouTube channel nowadays. But you know what? You grow and you learn. And yeah, that eventually evolved into what this channel is now. What is your earliest memory associated with playing a game? So my first video game console that my family owned was a PS1, and the earliest game I can remember playing was these games. They were called Army Men, with like the little green Army Men guys that from like Toy Story 1. They're not from Toy Story, obviously, but that's probably what most people have seen them from. But yeah, those games were a lot of fun. This was like the golden age of split screen. So I remember playing these with my older brother a lot, getting mad with him screen watching. Obviously, that's just what older siblings do. But yeah, those games were a lot of fun. I've actually considered buying them recently because I got a PS2 for Christmas. I've been on a little bit of a nostalgia gaming binge. So yeah, those are probably my earliest memories of the games. I don't remember which game exactly it was that I played first, but it's definitely one of those games. What game is your favorite to play on the channel or in your own time? So for on the channel, Palia has definitely become my favorite game to play. I've wanted to branch out and play different games for a long time now, and this has been the first one that has really been successful because the game is resonating with my already existing audience and it's branching out to new viewers. So I'm having a blast playing it. I'm glad to see that it's helping the channel grow even more, and I'm hoping that this game is opening the door for me to kind of branch out even further, because there's a lot of other games that I would really love to play, and I think I'm building an audience that is going to want to see me play more games. So I'm excited about that. What's your favorite video you've ever made? Usually anytime I play a game for the first time could be my favorite video. It's just a lot of fun to delve into a game for the first time. So it could potentially be my first Palia video. It was just a breath of fresh air to play something that wasn't The Sims for once. Pretty much every single video on my channel has been The Sims for the past 2 years now, I think, maybe longer. So it's very likely my first Palia video, but there is one video from back in the day when I played The Sims 4 where my whole goal of the video, actually, let me start at the beginning. This is like a 20-part series, my first ever Sims 4 series. And in like the third video, Vladdy bites my sim, and I just had like this whole vengeance build up over this 20-part series to where I eventually plan to kill him. And in this video, that's my main goal, and it pretty much just ends with him doing it to himself. You can check the video out if you want. I took a lot of work to make, and I've got some skits in there that I did. Those were a lot of fun to make. I actually originally planned to rent out like this haunted building that looks like a castle in my town, but unfortunately that would have cost me hundreds of dollars, and this video probably made $30. So I'm not sure that would have been worth it, but maybe one day I will make more crazy elaborate skits for my videos. But for now, I'll just stick to green screen. What game made you rage quit for the first time? Madden 13. And I know I probably don't look like the type of person that plays a lot of sports games, but I do play a lot of Madden still to this day. I don't get as mad as I used to because I'm a little bit more mature. If I get mad at the game, I just turn it off. But back in the day when I was playing this game, I would just absolutely decimate the game case every time I threw an interception or something. I would just take it and throw it against the wall, to the point of where the only part of the game case that was left was like the disc holder. But yeah, that's pretty much the only game series I think that can actually make me rage quit. But you know what? Dark Souls was probably the most recent game to make me rage quit. I tried playing the first one. I've gotten really far, but it's gotten to the point of where I have to really cheat to get past any of the bosses at this point. I need those YouTube tutorials badly. Is there a book or movie or other type of media that impacted your life on a level you never expected? That's probably got to be Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, and these are probably the earliest movies I remember watching as a kid, specifically the original 3. I could sit down and have a hour-long discussion about Star Wars with pretty much anybody. In fact, that happens pretty frequently with my family when we get together. But yeah, I love Star Wars, even though it's gotten kind of dookied on recently, but there's still enough good that outweighs the bad, in my opinion. What does your perfect day look like? Perfect day would be me waking up at 5 a.m., which I know sounds disgusting to a lot of people, but that's usually when I try to wake up. So getting up early, editing whatever video that I have filmed, maybe shooting another video later in the morning, and then probably spending the rest of the day with my wife and son. We've started taking him to the park. He's getting to the age where he enjoys doing things a lot more. He's almost walking, so yeah, it's a lot of fun taking him out. Pretty simple day, honestly. I don't like doing a lot of crazy hectic things in my day. Yeah, that's probably my perfect day. What's a hobby or interest you've always wanted to delve into but never got the opportunity? Honestly, Pokemon cards, and this has become a hobby that has been kind of ruined by scalpers, but it just seems like a lot of fun buying cards and ripping open packs, trying to find rare cards for your collection. I never got to play Pokemon when I was a kid, so I've really missed out. Like, whenever somebody's like, oh, this is that Pokemon, I'm like, I wish I knew that. At this point, it looks like I might have to be filthy rich to get into collecting Pokemon cards, just with the way the hobby's going right now. I actually like playing the game, the actual Pokemon trading card game. My brother and I used to play that a little bit, but I feel like nobody really actually plays that game. It's just all about how much money can I make off of this pack that I stole from a little kid. Are you planning on uploading more Minecraft videos to the channel? Yes, I am. The last Minecraft video that I made was so hectic and chaotic, though. I've just been taking a break because I was trying to make a cat farm in the video, just try to get as many cats as I possibly could. I didn't tame a cat until the very end of the video, and I filmed for like 3 hours. So needless to say, I'm not very good at the game. I should probably practice playing before I decide to do some sort of crazy challenge like that. So yes, I would like to play more Minecraft. It's just, yeah, I'm a little scarred for making that video, but yeah, I do plan to play eventually. What is the most chaotic thing you've done in a game for science? Anyone who used to watch my Sims 4 video, I had this thing called Prisoner Painting Club, which is where I would start a club for painting, and then I would get all the club members into my basement, and then I would lock them in there, give them beds, give them food. In The Sims 4, when somebody paints a painting, you can just add it to your inventory and sell it instead of having to paint it yourself. Kind of a get rich quick scheme. Pretty fun to do. Pretty funny. Probably the most chaotic thing I've ever done. What has drawn you to simulation games? The main reason I got into playing The Sims was mostly because my wife just said you should play The Sims, because I was getting tired of streaming Fortnite and my Wi-Fi was crashing constantly, so my streaming career was going to end anyway. So I was like, okay, I'll get into playing The Sims because I like to kind of role play in the games that I'm playing, you know, just kind of be a psychomaniac. And The Sims is kind of the best game for that. So that's kind of the main reason that I was drawn to playing those games. Have you ever played Sims Medieval? No, but I will. That is the next planned video series for this channel. I don't know when exactly I will start it, but I definitely plan to soon. What's the funniest comment you've ever received and favorite interaction from a viewer? This was a long time ago. Back in my streaming era, I had a very different audience back then. It was mostly a bunch of teenage boys because I was playing Fortnite. But I think the funniest comment I've ever had on a video was someone calling me Chris Hemsworthless because, you know, my name's Walmart Thor on YouTube, so that's a pretty fitting name. I always thought that was like the funniest thing. I mean, I've been called Temu Thor, Wish Thor, Target Thor, Kroger Thor. Pretty much just any variation of budget Thor has been thrown around. What's something viewers don't realize about making gaming content? I film a lot of footage for a relatively short video, and like I said earlier with like the Minecraft video, I filmed for 3 hours, and that video is probably 30 minutes. That's a pretty extreme case, but most videos are 2 hours of filming, and the videos typically are 20 to 30 minutes. It's just because there's a lot of, not interesting things that happen in the video, especially in The Sims when you're trying to get something to work and it's just not, the Sims aren't cooperating. Or like in the Paleo videos, it's just me wandering around gathering resources. That's not always very fun to watch. So I do trim a lot of the fat off the videos, which is kind of a general rule for making YouTube videos, is to cut out the boring parts. What are the pros and cons of transitioning from being a streamer to being a YouTuber? It is mostly pros. I've actually considered making a video talking about this because it was kind of a big thing that I did. Transitioning from streaming to just making YouTube videos, which has been so relieving for me. I was very nervous when I was streaming back in the day. I'd have to really psych myself up to prepare for a stream. It's so much more comforting to just record myself and cut out any parts that I don't want to be seen by anybody. And just truthfully right now, I don't have any time to be streaming, so I would probably have to be making YouTube videos regardless. I really don't like having to set aside time in the evening to stream and to like have to tell my wife, oh, don't come in here and interrupt the stream. Because the great thing about making YouTube videos is sometimes I film them over multiple days and nobody really notices or cares because I have the freedom to do that. So yeah, maybe one day I'll make a video going into more depth as to why I transitioned and what the pros are. But yeah, it's mostly pros. What is your spirit animal? Probably a cat. You know how cats usually only warm up to people that they really like? That's kind of me. I'm not very talkative around somebody unless I really know them. And I feel like that's kind of how cats are, is they only show any affection to people that they really like. So yeah, that's probably my answer. Everyone has at least one board game that turns them into a competitive demon spawn. What is yours? Probably Catan. That's really the only board game that I've played in the last few years. Every single time I play that game, I always get the worst spots on the board, and my numbers that I pick, it's kind of hard to explain to anyone who's never played the game, but basically you have numbers attached to your placement on the board, and then you roll dice, and then you get resources for those numbers. My numbers very rarely get rolled, so usually I'm coming in dead last in most games that I play. So yeah, that's probably the only board game that I really get competitive with because nobody ever wants to play Candyland with me. So there's really no other board games that I can pick for that question. In case of a full-scale alien invasion, how prepared would you say our defenses are? My country might be a little bit more prepared because there's like 3 guns per person in this country, which is kind of crazy. But I guess it depends on how effective our weapons are. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think aliens even want to mess with us because we're so freaking weird. They would probably just blow up our entire planet before we even knew what was happening. So what is your guilty pleasure show? That would be Star Trek The Next Generation. That is my nighttime bedtime show. I pretty much watch that every single night. What is your favorite genre of media to consume? As much as I'd like to say video games, I think it has to be movies now because I don't have as much time to play video games as I wish I did. But movies are just so much less commitment to get into. You know, you just set aside 2 hours to watch, and yeah, that's probably my favorite. Most embarrassing fail that never made it into a video. A lot of my videos on my channel are of me failing. My very first Sims 4 video, which is the video that kind of blew my channel up a little bit, is 12 minutes of me failing and sucking at the game. In terms of things that don't make it into videos, if it just takes me a long time to figure out something simple, I will typically trim that up a little bit so it doesn't take me 5 minutes to figure out how to do something that most people would figure out in a couple seconds. But generally speaking, most of my fails are in the video. Would you and Queso fight? I'm assuming that's in reference to my water park simulator game where I kind of bludgeon him with a sledgehammer. Are you out of your mind? But no, of course I would never fight Queso because, like I said earlier, he's my inspiration, so why would I ever fight him? What games besides The Sims are you interested in playing this year? Well, I just started Paleo. I would love to play a lot of different games. I've had a lot of recommendations to play Stardew Valley, which I might. I've had a lot of recommendations for Dreamlight Valley, which I might as well play that as well. I've thought about playing Planet Zoo and or Planet Coaster at some point. And of course, with Planet Coaster, I would just make the most diabolical roller coaster ever known to man. But a big one that I've wanted to play is Valheim. I actually started recording a video for that back at my old house. Never finished it. And I also didn't feel that well when I was recording, so I kind of scrapped what I did record, but I will eventually get into playing that game again. Would you do streams of Atari games like Pitfall and E.T.? I know E.T. is considered like one of the worst games ever made, and I think Pitfall might be on there too. I feel like I've watched Angry Video Game Nerd do reviews on those games. I would definitely like to get into playing retro games on here. I've had recommendations to play like the original Resident Evil games, which are a lot harder to play because of the camera view in those games is honestly like the biggest challenge. So maybe, I don't know if I'd go that old with my retro games, but maybe it would be kind of fun to just play like notoriously terrible games. What is your favorite comfort food? I will never say no to some Chinese food, even if it's some cheap American version with like Panda Express. Chinese food is definitely my favorite. This is kind of a silly question, but would you ever play Disney Dreamlight Valley? Well, I kind of already answered that earlier. Probably. The only thing holding me back from playing that is that it costs $40. And, you know, the big reason I got into playing Palia is because it's free. So maybe I could ask the developers if I could play it for free. Sometimes that works. What are your top 5 video games you've ever played? Witcher 3, BioShock, the original Battlefront 2, Bloodborne, and I think I'd have to go with Batman Arkham Asylum. I love the entire trilogy of those games. That one I played the most of back in the day. I completely 100% of that game, which is a nightmare because of all the freaking Riddler trophies in those games. But out of all those, The Witcher 3 is my all-time favorite game. I've played it twice. Might have to play it again because I know they're adding an expansion pack to the game. What is the worst game I've ever played? I think I'll pick a game that I beat and didn't really enjoy by the end of the game, and I think that has to be Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That is the first game in the series that really broke away from being an Assassin's Creed game. There's really nothing in that game that makes it an Assassin's Creed. It just has the name Assassin's Creed on it. I mean, I did have fun playing it for about 40 hours, but I think it took me 80 to beat because that game, as well as Assassin's Creed Valhalla they're just way too long. I think by the end of Odyssey, I just had enough. I mean, there is aspects of the game that I do enjoy. I like hunting like the cult members. That's honestly the best part of the game. And of course, Sparta kicking people off of cliffs was always fun. But yeah, that is the last Assassin's Creed game that I beat. And I've just never really gotten back into the series after that game. It kind of killed my mood. Would you ever do a Skyrim video where you beat a guild faction? I've done a couple Skyrim videos and I definitely would play more. It's just they didn't quite reach the audience that I hoped that they would. So maybe one day I would delve back into Skyrim, maybe do like a typical playthrough instead of doing the 2 videos that I did. It's just I've played Skyrim probably a million times, so it's hard to want to restart. I would dang near rather play Oblivion, but who knows? Never say never. What would your final meal consist of? Just a little bit of every food genre, probably. You know, throw some pizza in there, throw some Mexican food, Chinese food, obviously. Like if I'm about to die, I'm just gonna stuff myself. I mean, I assume I'm on death row because of my prisoner painting club torture. I assume that's why I'm having to pick my last meal here. But yeah, just a mix of everything. Are you ever planning to play Roblox again? Maybe. I've actually considered doing a video where I just play whatever nonsense is on the homepage and just kind of goofing off. I don't know if that would really resonate with my current audience. Who knows? I did do a Dress to Impress video at one point. That was pretty fun. But who knows? Roblox actually does have some gems on there. I know most people just look at it like it's a goofy looking Lego game, but there is some pretty banger games on there. Are you wearing a wig? Yeah, I'm actually bald. All right, that's going to be it for today's Q&A session. I answered the majority of the questions that I received. Maybe I'll do another one of these when I hit like 50K or 100K. But yeah, until then, I hope you enjoyed this little Q&A session. Once again, thank you, everyone. I wouldn't be here without you, and I hope we can continue to grow this channel out, reach new audiences, play more games, continue to goof off, and just have fun doing it. And hopefully one day this can become my full-time job, and then we can really start cooking up some content. But that's going to be it for me today. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for supporting me, and I will see you all in the next video.